Chile, you did not hear this from me, but her man was at my house last night. Oops.
Welcome back, family. I just want to share with you a few thoughts on what I call digital blackface. What is digital blackface? Well, I spoke about it before. I spoke about the gorillas that were, or actually the black women who were portrayed as gorillas on TikTok, and how demeaning it is, and how many of us would latch on to that and begin to think that it's the real thing, and how many of us who don't have any contact with American Africans will think that that's how we are, and that's how they deal with us. And it's going to have the same effect on the minds of the young as cartoons did back in the day. But with a cartoon, you knew it was a cartoon because it didn't look real. It was just like a comic book that moved around with a little music, a little sound. It was cool. And it wasn't anything demeaning or any false stereotype. And yes, we do have those of us who choose to carry themselves that way, but I'd love to say that that's not the majority. And the reason why I said it that way is because, is it going to stay that way? Or will we become what we are portrayed to be? And that's life imitating art, even though this is not art as a good thing, right? These AI influences that are not real human beings, that for some reason there's a flood of them out there portraying black women in a very negative way, and with some in a very subtle way negative. They look all right. I'm talking about what people consider to be the good ones, but they'll say something. They'll slander, they'll flash diss you, meaning that they'll say something underhanded. Like the one influencer said, yeah, my man has to go home and blow up his bed every night in his mama's basement. I mean, like, what is that to say? I mean, so a lot of people are going to catch on to this and mold themselves in that type of fashion, and they're going to knock black men. They're going to push, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with single mothers. There's single mothers out here who have done a wonderful job. There's single mothers out here who unfortunately lost their husbands and they're deceased, whichever way, an accident, sickness, you know. But we know what we're talking about when we say the stereotypical single mothers, where just like what they're putting out here on AI with the 17 baby daddies. No, I'm just exaggerating. But, you know, but they're still single, right? They're loud, they're ignorant, they have no manners. It's all about them. They're dressed indecent. They want to rub you the wrong way. They have a chip on their shoulder. That's what's being pushed out here. And as far as the ones that don't look so bad, they got a little bit of that in them too. Little slick things that they say. But my thing is, this narrative is being pushed out into the world in a manner where we don't know if it's real or not. AI has gotten that good. You see what I mean? And we don't know what's real and what's not real. You see what I mean? So to me, it's too dangerous. And this is going to mold a generation of young American African children who get a hold of this and absorb the personas of these characters, which in fact, you know that when you have these fake AI content creators, right, who have podcasts, when they get brand deals, who gets paid? Or when the particular brand creates this for themselves, they don't have to pay anybody. So why are they focusing on black women, right? So to me, it's almost like those who created the digital spaces and the online platforms didn't anticipate that so many black people would make money, good money, hundreds of thousands and sometimes millions, and have brand deals, products to sell, run their own business. So now it's like, we're going to aim on them. So now when July 15th comes, how do we draw the line on YouTube? Because YouTube basically said they don't want extreme AI driven videos, fake videos, straight up fake, mass produced with AI voices, AI. Will they cut these out? And if they cut those out, the companies that would produce this, they're going to still have to find real influencers. I'm very interested to see how they draw the line, because they said that on July 15th, they're going to cut out a lot of that stuff. And there's some videos that are really like extreme. It has nothing to do with race. It's just people who create stuff that AI created, the images, the voices, and they'll take one video and change it slightly, change the title, change a little bit of the content on the inside, a little bit of words, let AI do it, and put out 100 different videos on the same theme, and hopefully one hits and goes viral. And that's how they're milking the YouTube money with the YouTube ads. But original content creators are to be rewarded now by putting in the work with the editing, with the voiceovers or actual footage, real footage. And it's not to say you can't use a minimal of AI help. No, we're not saying that. But the majority of it can't be. I just want to see where YouTube draws the line. But will they draw the line with this digital blackface of us? Because I don't see any so-called Jewish imagery out there in a negative fashion. If I was to make that, what would they do to me? They'd knock me off. I don't see any Indian, meaning India's from India. I don't see anything negative out there about them. You see what I mean? I don't see any Chinese, demeaning imagery out there. And why the black woman? See, that tells me how special the black woman is. It's always got to come through her. And not always in a bad way. Sometimes you have movies where she's the secret savior, or she has the spiritual powers. They know something about the black woman that most of us don't know. And this is why they're putting out, or allowing people to put out, the negative images of digital blackface out there to keep her down, to keep the world from knowing how powerful she is and how she's the original woman of the planet. And all of us have come from her. Well, not all of us. There's some Nabiscos out here that are straight from the pits of hell. But it's definitely an attack. And to me, it's going to get worse and worse, because when people catch on that they can do this, then it's going to be a battle. It's going to be more and more demeaning. And now I'm hearing that, well, I've always known that they had digital or AI type porn, but now it's really getting out of hand because I can't share it here. Larger than life, oversexed, overextended organs, female body proportions that are just unreal. The waistline's too tall, too small. The breasts too big, the hips too big. Just demons having sex with women. This is not by chance. This is definitely influencing on the worst level. But see, people don't know that, and young kids won't know that these things are fabrications. And look how fast it has developed. Give it another 2 or 3 years. What is it going to look like? It's going to look real. And so when they see these stereotypical behaviors, they're going to absorb it. They don't care if it's something attractive to the eye and colorful, and it may sound like you or somebody in your family, but they take it further. It's going to be like kiddie porn. I'm not saying kiddie child pornography. I'm saying stereotypical content that hits the brain like porn for children to influence them to act and be a certain way. The cussing and the arguing and all of this stuff in the name of keeping it real, and the ratchet fights that we already see. We're going to see more of that. It's going to be all the negative stuff. And do I want it to be that way? No. But you can't tell me that it's just a regular black woman out there saying, well, I'm the one doing this content. No way. They'll say that, but who is really putting this stuff out? It's no good. It's no good. And some of the things I've seen, because I've looked at quite a few of them, and I'd say 15% passed my test. And as soon as you think that, oh, this one's cool, they might say something. Us girls living in the hood, we gotta look out for each other. After something that may have sounded dignifying and entertaining and informative. But it's always gotta be that. It's always gotta come back around to that. And that's what I don't like. I just want to shoot this out. Now, I wrote an article in detail, and I'm gonna put the link below, and it goes into detail, brings up a lot of good points. But this was just a freestyle overview. So, come on to the article, leave some comments, and subscribe to Lancescurv X. That's where the link is to. And I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. But this is one of these things that we can't let go under the radar. And it helps to fortify how we see each other, how we see ourselves. Older folks like me, I'm already formed. This is not going to affect me. And just because you think it doesn't affect you, don't think that it doesn't affect your children. And if you see these children or parents allowing their children to see it, don't preach to them, but just kind of bring up some points and enlighten them. Because, sometimes parents can be quite touchy if their parenting style is questioned or challenged. Anyway, again, leave your comments. Let me know what you think about this. And definitely read the article because I went into detail. Anyway, Lancescurv out. On to the next one. Peace.